But moving off this topic, let's go into the big news that happened this week.
Oh man,
Wow, man. So apparently...
So for all of you who don't know, for whatever reason, there was a short film that just came out, and it's actually Mighty Morphin Power Rangers short film.
Yeah, it's a fan film.
Fan film, and it blew up the internet. I mean, it's who are the people that were in it?
There's Katie Sackhoff, who played Kimberly.
Right.
And then there's James Vanderbeek, who's playing Rocky in the short, which I think is really cool. So yeah, it just like I was sitting in class and like I noticed that you'd posted that on Facebook and I was like, oh.
Well, I saw it from Danny right away, and I was like, I was in the middle of class too, because my class all have computers in them, so I do nothing but listen to the teacher. But I'm on there and I see this on Facebook and I'm like. And I quickly got on it and I kind of watched it and I watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I kind of just sat back in my chair and I'm like, is this Power Rangers or is this something else?
Well, here's the thing though, because I watched the special too, or I watched the film also before it got pulled off the internet, but For what I can understand, it seems like a really dark and gritty version of Power Rangers.
Right.
To give a comparison, it feels like Mortal Kombat Legacy, but for Power Rangers.
Right. And if you look on the internet, most people are like, "No, this is a great Power Rangers," and then the other half is just like, "No, this isn't. This isn't Power Rangers."
Here's the thing, though. This is not. My reaction to this is it's not my personal interpretation of this show. I think it goes a little bit too far with the grittiness and bloodiness of it, but there is so much in this film that shows you that it was made by people who clearly have seen the show and are really big fans, so I can't really get mad at it. All I'm saying is it wasn't really my bag. See, I watched it, I enjoyed it, but there were some things in it that I was like, I don't know if I really like that.
Here was my thing. I watched this. I'm like, okay, it's dark and gritty. And then I saw the guns, and then I saw the sword play, and then I'm just like, okay, I get it. I'm like, you put the Megazord in there. You have them in these suits, kinda. And I didn't really much like the helmets, but that's my personal taste.
Some of them are really bad. I actually like the Black Ranger helmet a lot, but I don't like the Pink Ranger at all.
Yeah,
the Pink Ranger helmet I think is stupid.
Yeah, and I'm like watching this, and I'm like, and they've got a lot of references to Power Rangers. Yeah, like they know their stuff. They know what they're talking about.
They've done their homework on this show.
Okay, and so in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, they put Power Rangers on this. I'm like, but did you have to? I'm like, this could have been really good without putting that label on it. You could have made it about something else. But the fact that it had these references and stuff made it actually kind of enjoyable to say, yeah, I can see this, but I mean, it doesn't feel complete, you know. Like, I'd appreciated, you know, at least if you're gonna have Green Ranger, you know, Tommy, I mean, don't give him the same blade as anybody else. Give him something unique.
That was the thing that I noticed about that, because like when James Vanderbeek pulls out his sword and then Tommy pulls out one that's exactly like it, I thought, man, what a major misstep that was. I honestly thought it should have been the dagger.
I mean, the thing is that the only time that this is unique is when it goes to the flashback, when it was doing that first part. The first part, you know, they're in the suits. They got the Green Ranger suit actually looks good. Yeah. I enjoyed that.
I really like the holographic shield,
And then the whole thing is whenever we're in the interview room and everything, it's just... there's nothing to tell, like, who's who, really. In almost a way. And I almost missed, like, who was who in that. Trying to listen to this, I'm like, okay, so that's the Black Ranger, that's the Blue Ranger.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's who that is, and I'm like, it was hard to tell right away, and
I can see that. Yeah.
And it's really hard, and I'm like, they're right there, they're close to it. They just little tweaks, and it would be perfect. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind the guns. I wouldn't mind this dark and gritty story of how a Power Ranger decided to betray them. And
Yeah.
and I'm just, I mean, it just
It just seems like the sample of a larger narrative, which
Yeah.
which I guess it should be because it's a fan film,
Right.
and it's only 15 minutes long.
Yeah, and the sad thing is, it's sad that this is getting taken down because this is something that I think is a step forward in the right direction for big Power Rangers fans.
I don't know, man. Like again, I feel like this goes too far into the adult maturity direction.
I mean, but
Like it goes like to the extreme to the people who grew up on this show and are now adults.
right,
But it doesn't appeal to to kids.
right, which is why I said it's a step in the right direction. We're not fully there.
Yeah.
I mean, we need to kind of bring some of it back to say, look, that's great, but it's still a kid show too.
Yeah.
I mean, it just didn't have that right balance.
Yeah, but I don't think it was trying to though.
Right, which it wasn't, and then so in my opinion, is this a Power Ranger short film? Yes, but with a few exceptions of it needing to be tweaked.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know most people will still argue, nah, this is nothing like Power Rangers, but I mean, it's
Here's
there.
the thing, like there's a lot. Like I didn't expect for them to go as deep in the lore as they did. Like there's mentions of the Machine Empire and King Mondo and all that stuff.
Yeah, then
And that's really cool.
the Tommy losing his power, getting his power, and
Yeah.
so
There's all stuff. In fact, the only thing I didn't appreciate production wise was the reveal spoilers. But there's like Rita's in this, and when she shows up, her costume doesn't look as good as I think the rest of the show.
as the rest of the
Because the rest of it looks really like dark and realistic, and then when she shows up, it's really like goofy looking. That's the way I felt about it. And so that was the one point where like the cheesiness doesn't mesh well with the grittiness that they're trying to portray. But it
I would
still
have appreciated
works.
Lord Zed in there somewhere because he's like the perfect tone for dark and gritty. If you want to put him,
Here's the thing though, like, I don't know why they didn't put. Well, I guess narratively they have to put Rita in there for what happens. But
Right.
yeah, definitely Lord Zed would have been really cool to have.
because that's who I would want to be like to have in there for a really dark. Because he's a really, in reality, he's a pretty dark character.
Oh yeah, he's very dark. Have you seen his introduction?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, man,
So
he's like
I mean-
super evil.
but I expect in the future to see better stuff
When we finally get to the MMPR movie, I would like to see something that is not this
not this
mature.
intensity.
I don't think we need to. I don't think we needed to have. Zach has been sleeping with a lot of women. He's also got cocaine. I didn't think we needed to have that. That was the only part where I was like, okay, that's a little bit too like maturity for the sake of maturity.
Yeah.
But everything else I thought was really worked. I actually really love the fight that the Black Ranger has against that whole group of guys.
Any last words?
Yeah,
It's Morphin.
I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. This short film made me feel a lot of emotions, and I'm like, we're getting so close to the actual MMPR movie, and it's getting so close, and I'm like, I don't want
I think there's a happy medium that you can hit to make when the MMPR movie comes out, to make it appeal to both kids and adults.
Right.
I just think this goes too far in the other direction. I agree with what Jason David Frank said about the whole thing, is that it's way too violent for kids, and he couldn't in good faith, recommend it to anybody. And the news took that as, oh, he doesn't approve of this entire thing.
Yeah,
wow, like
they got on to him.
We talked about like media and all that stuff, and they've gone crazy about this whole, oh man, these people who were actually on the show are reacting to all this. And I swear to you, it's because JDF was like, this isn't the version that I would want because it doesn't appeal to the target audience, which is the children.
Well, then you gotta keep in mind he has a daughter who's like a fan of Power Rangers.
That's right. He did put out a video where he was basically like he was approached to be in the film, but he had to turn it down because he was like, there's no way that he could watch that the movie with Jenna sitting right next to him, and he couldn't do it.
Yeah,
because of that.
That's the thing, He has to also he has this image of being the Green Ranger, and he knows where his images lie, and he knew when looking into this that this wasn't going to be for him.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
because he knows what the Green Ranger's supposed to be.
Yeah,
and he knew that this wasn't going to portray Tommy in the best light of what he could be.
Yeah, that's true. But there's and then that kind of led to this whole string of things where other people were brought in. Like I think Amy Jo Johnson also gave her thoughts on it, and so did I think
I know the
Walter Jones,
Pink Ranger.
Yeah,
I think Pink Ranger, Red Ranger, the original Red Ranger.
No, I don't. I didn't hear that. Did he?
I think he did.
I don't know.
I think almost the whole original cast gave their opinion.
I saw that they had asked a whole bunch of people, and the only one that I actually read was Amy Jo's, where she was like, "It's cool," and that was pretty much all she said about it.
Well, I mean, because they all have an opinion because they played these characters and they grew up with it too. So they're like, well, it's cool and it looks great. I mean, So
production values are really good on that.
But if anybody out there still hasn't seen it, it's a good thing to go look at and watch. You're gonna get mixed feelings about it on how the whole thing is, and so you take it from however you want to take it, but that's basically the gist of what we got.
And then there's this kind of led into Saban was pulling the video from everywhere, from YouTube and Vimeo and all that stuff, which makes sense.
Yeah,
it makes sense a whole lot. I mean, they're coming out with the Power Rangers movie next year. They don't want this to be the representation of that, and have people be like,
well, they have the right to. I feel they have the right to take it down in a sense of, this could, give people the wrong senses of what the movie's gonna be.
Yeah, that's true, and you can go either way with it. Either people are gonna think it's gonna be way darker than it is, the movie, or you're gonna have parents being like, oh well, I saw that Power Rangers short, it's too violent for my kid.
Yeah, so in a sense, I think it's right, but
I do agree that I understand where they're coming from, why they would want to do that, because this isn't representing anything close to what they're going to put on screen.
Right.
I think.
Yeah.